Welcome to the Talent Brand Podcast by Talent Brand Alliance. Today, we are going to be interviewing some of our board members. All right, today we have Audra Knight. Welcome, Audra. My name is Will Staney, co-founder of Talent Brand Alliance, and with me I have
the other co-founder of Talent Brand Alliance, Brian Cheney. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's kind of cool to get together on a Sunday and spend it just talking to some of our friends and board members.
It is. We're sipping on some coffee and talking to people that we respect and admire.
Awesome. So let's get to it. Audra, tell us a little bit about yourself and your current role and how you came to be a board member and all that stuff.
That's a lot of questions. All right, I'll start with my current role. I work for a cybersecurity company out of Maryland, which is called Tenable, and we are growing it fast. It's a very exciting industry to be part of. And I am the manager of recruitment operations. So I started in a specifically talent brand role, and now I manage a team, which is partially employment branding. And then the other side of it is sort of analytics, process improvement, vendor management, kind of everything aside from recruitment. So it's a little bit of everything. It's pretty exciting.
So how did you progress from just purely talent branding role into operations and talent branding? What was that conversation like?
That is a really good question. I have to be honest, I was a little bit nervous when I talked to my director about the role, because I'm so passionate about employer branding and that's like my thing I'm great at. I was very nervous about learning, that different side of things, but I also knew it was going to be an amazing learning experience, and it has been. I've learned so much more pieces of just recruitment, but also HR. So I'm definitely glad I've taken the role because it's expanded what I know. So then also that helps with employer branding as well, to kind of understand all sides of the game. But I was definitely a little nervous when I first discussed the role with my director. I'm not going to lie.
That's great. It sounds like a really natural, kind of a natural build on. When I was at SuccessFactors, I had sort of started as an employer brand person too. And then as I was doing all the experimental talent attraction things, right? And with that, you have to measure it to get more funding. And then I just got better at sort of measuring. And then I took over the CRM implementation. Is that kind of how it happened for you? Is like you went into the ops role because you were naturally already kind of doing some of that stuff?
Absolutely. Project management, like you said, I was already doing the vendor management and like what tools we're using. So I guess I was already doing pieces of that. So it made perfect sense. And then someone else now she does the tactical side of all the social media and recruitment. And together we do the strategy, which is super important. When I took the role, I said, I still have to own, part of that and be part of that. But then I have the other side of things too. So it's worked out great.
That's awesome. So how did you get in the space? So it's really interesting to hear about your role, but how did you get into talent branding?
So I completely made my way into it. I think you were kind of a similar story too, Will. My role was kind of my career was very crazy early on. I was actually managing donor recruitment for a hospital. So that was a whole different side of recruitment. Actually getting people to give part of their body versus take a job is definitely interesting. But the hospital it was a good learning experience. But the hospital was having some issues. They ended up having to shut down the department. And so then I just kind of went all over the place within the hospital to kind of save my career. And I learned a lot of lessons about what not to do in those movements. But I finally landed in a kind of HR generalist role, working for the head of, first I was working for the CHRO. So I got to learn HR recruitment from the very top, which was fantastic. I really kind of get more of what matters to the C-suite and higher ups. And then I moved to this generalist role under talent acquisition, where I started to learn recruitment. And it was funny because I remember telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, I'm going into recruitment. And he's like, you're going to be a headhunter? And he was like all freaked out, which is a whole nother story, but it was funny. And in that role, when I was kind of working for the head of talent, I saw we had this agency, and I kept seeing all the bills for the agency, and they were doing the branding for us. But nobody was kind of owning the management of that. We didn't really know what was working, what was not working. We were using a ton of job boards, which was, trendy at the time. And I was kind of like, we need to take a little bit of ownership about what we're doing with them. We had an empty Facebook page, so I just said, I'm having that. And I started that going. And I just wanted to tell our story and create content. No one was actually creating content. We were just kind of giving the money to the agency, and they were putting the jobs out there. So I did it completely on the side. I did my regular role, and then I found that, time to do this other stuff until I was able to say to my director, look, this is something we need to be doing. Here's why. Here's some cool numbers. Here's some stories I'm putting out there. And she was fantastic, because some of them would have said, no way, I'm not doing this. And she said, you know what? I totally think let's go with this. So I just kind of created my own title and wrote my job description, and she was amazing and let me do it.
That's awesome. So not a headhunter, but more like a Pied Piper.
Yep.
Right? Like
I was doing it. I was making it happen. And then after that, I kind of went, I left there because they were having just a lot of issues. It was hard to do employer branding when like the nurses were all on strike, and it was a tough environment. So I went to the vendor side, which is a whole nother field, an amazing company.
Yeah, we know.
Yep.
It is. Which that's actually when we met, I think, was when you were at the vendor. So that's how I first started getting to know you, was on Twitter, I think.
Yes. I remember you were actually doing some kind of speaking event in Germany, I think, and it was being live streamed. And I remember I was on Twitter kind of like writing the things that you were, the quotes of the thing. That's one of the first things I remember about you. I was kind of stalking you after that, because I was like, this guy's got some really good stuff to say.
Yeah. Speaking of our history, so from the very beginning of Talent Brand Alliance, you've been a part of it, right? And so one of the first community members, you were actually facilitating the last Talent Brand Summit that we did in June. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, tell us about your experience at the event last year, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about the board.
Awesome. Facilitating was so exciting and different, because I actually had never led a workshop at all. So that was a whole different experience to learn how that works, and not just be up there talking about, what to do, but getting feedback, getting the people to work together. So I loved being a facilitator. But what I really liked about the event the most was that I, as a speaker, or facilitator, was still able to learn from the audience. Usually I go to events and I learn, from the other speakers, but to be honest, I've seen a lot of them, and some of the stuff I've kind of already know. So this one was completely different, because when I wasn't up there, I was learning with the other people and what they're doing, what works, what doesn't work. So I think I took much more away from that, as being a speaker, than I ever have at a different conference.
Yeah, and that was why we were trying to make that a little different, or a lot different, actually.
Mm-hmm, a lot.
From normal recruiting events. And when you think about all the different roundtables that you took part in, which one stood out to you? Like, which one did you learn the most from?
I would have to say, I think Dina Medeiros, I really liked that one on which channels to use, because we had a great conversation at our table. Like, we're using Facebook for this, we're using LinkedIn for this, and in different channels I actually hadn't even heard of that people were using. So I think, me personally, I took the most from that one. It was really useful.
Yeah, and the format is very intentional, right? There's 75 to 100 other speakers. Everyone is sharing those experiences, and that's I learned so much. I've had a long career doing this, but every single person's own both journey to talent branding, and then how they do it at their respective companies across industries is so different and unique, and we can all learn something from each other's stories and experiences. So I just love that we have this tribe and this community of people, and it's awesome being on this journey with you. Tell me, like, what was the most exciting thing that happened at Talent Brand Summit in June?
I really liked just the events outside, because I got to really meet people and have fun with them too.
Even though it's hot.
Yeah, it was. But a lot of other conferences, I might go to just dinner with 8 to 10 people that night, and you don't get to meet the other people at all. Where I sat next to Neil, I sat next to Travis. We still keep in touch all the time, because we did those events together. So I think just getting to know, I feel like I actually met it and really got to know like 50 people, where normally it's like 2 or 3 at a conference, because we did those events together, had a few drinks, did some axe throwing and fun stuff. But I really made some serious, awesome networking and connections and friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, go ahead.
I remember seeing you at the, you got to play around with the bow and arrow, didn't you? Just a little bit?
I was not very good at that. I was very disappointed in myself. Or axe throwing. I thought, because I'm a bit sporty and I thought I was coordinated, I would be good at that, but it doesn't cross over at all.
Now, that wasn't necessarily for lack of trying or practice, was it?
No, but I have to give a shout out to Ashley Bush, who was killing it with the axe throwing, but she has actually done that quite a few times. So I think she had a leg up on that.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That's great. And then obviously Talent Brand Alliance is more than just a summit event. So, could you share with us a little bit about what's your experience been day to day in our community online in the Facebook group?
Yeah.
What are you getting from that? And how do you see that? And I think this is a good segue into talking about the board. How do you see that playing a role in what you're going to be doing in your board role?
Sure. I have to admit that there's only about 2 groups where if I see a notification up there and it's for the group, I'll go and check it. There's so many groups where I've either turned it off or I'm like, oh, I don't care at all. But that's one where I always have to go look because I know that it's going to be either a really good question that I can help with, or it's going to be someone telling me something I'm going to learn from for sure. And I love it when someone does put a question. It's like within an hour, I'll see like 10 different people throw in their answers. So I think it's really valuable to the whole community and to myself. I've actually thrown out questions there myself. I've shared, some things I'm doing. I think that's going to be one of the most valuable pieces of the whole community for sure as it grows too. And it's already growing to how many people? It's getting there.
We are just on the brink of 500 at the moment.
Practitioners, people really doing the work. That's the cool part.
Absolutely. The group is vetted, right? So they're actually doing the work. They're actually people who are getting and earning the battle scars and asking questions about what they can do differently and who's worked with a vendor, who's got the experience that they can take advantage of.
Yeah, everyone in the group is a pioneer. They're all in a profession that's, that's very young and early, but that a lot of the business world is paying attention to now, especially in this market where unemployment is very low. There are hundreds of thousands more jobs than there are people looking for jobs every day, right? And so every company's trying to figure out, how do we attract the right talent? How do we become more proactive with how we hire through relationship building and storytelling? And so it's cool to see all these people in here, all these pioneers that are sharing, learning, excited to create best practices together. It's pretty cool.
I love seeing companies bring it in-house. I feel like for so many years, you would have an agency do it, and that's fine. There's a place for certain projects for agencies, but I like that people are realizing you need somebody who's creating the content who really gets it in-house. I think that's
absolutely. And I have a firm that does this, right? But our goal every time is to help every one of the companies build this internally. That's how much I believe in it, that I don't want even my clients to be dependent on it, that we really believe that this should be a function within every company, no matter what
we're seeing it happen. It's so exciting.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, everybody is living the story themselves, so they're the better ones to share it and have it feel real, right? So the employees are the ones that are respected and trusted a little more than the brands usually. So it's a matter of perspective. I think that's really, really cool. Now, what I would ask is, you join the Talent Brand Alliance board, and your role is really, really cool. I love the learning and the matchmaking and the connecting piece of your role. Can you tell us your special take on that?
Yeah, so I think there's going to be 2 pieces, but we're still working, out exactly what I'm going to do. But one piece is going to be matching mentors with mentees, which I love because I am a mentor. Like really I'm a mentor to someone officially, but I'm also, I do that sometimes anyway with friends all the time. But I get to help other people have that. I love teaming up with people so they can learn more, make great networking and connections. I think it's just as good for the mentee as it is for the mentor, because you can see people, growing and what struggles for them and how you can help them. So there's going to be that side, which I'm very excited about. And then I think just career growth in general for the whole community. That's actually what I talked about at the summit, was like career growth, how you can grow within the industry, or maybe you want to go somewhere else, or however you want to grow. I love seeing people, maybe they want to become more of a speaker. Maybe they want to learn more about the marketing piece. Any way that I can kind of help people grow their career, and the whole committee, of course. I think that'll be really valuable.
Yeah, and maybe to give a little more context for those just sort of listening in and don't understand your role. So, Audra is leading our mentorship and L&D committee, right? So with this goal of, we got all these people together. This is a new industry. We're all kind of trying to learn how can Talent Brand Alliance help facilitate some of this, right? And Audra, you're just such a natural. I see you do this in the industry through your own podcasting, just in our community. And that's a big reason why we chose you for this board spot, right? That, you know, you just seem to be someone who just loves to share your knowledge and likes being a matchmaker. Like, you've connected me to so many people in the industry. So we're really excited to have you in this role. I think it couldn't be a better fit.
Awesome. I definitely agree. And I wanted to make an official announcement that I have picked my committee chair, Mr. Travis Triggs. We actually met at the summit. We happened to sit next to each other because actually I think that was possibly picked, but we connected right away. And I love mostly about he was so passionate. He was, you know, the scribe, and he was helping us connect ourselves and taking notes, but he was jumping in there. It was so much value on top of taking the notes. So he was so passionate.
That's such a great fit. One, he's also a fellow musician and music lover. So you guys are going to really connect on that. But two, he's just, I don't know, Brian, you can definitely attest to this. He's just someone who he wants to pour into people. He's just full of love and light. And I think this is such a great thing for him. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think he's one of the most grateful people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
And just thankful for every opportunity, every relationship, every chance to learn more about another individual. That's one of the things I love about him. It's actually also one of the reasons I hired him.
That's right. Yeah, he's on your team. I forget that sometimes because that's only been recently, right? The last
few months.
Yeah.
And he's joined. He leads all of our paid advertising at Indeed from an EV standpoint. So I think that, and he's built really great relationships internally too. And so I think that's really going to give a lot to the committee, Audra, to what you can expect out of him and out of the committee. And I think you made a good choice.
Yeah, he's also a local Austinite as well with me and Brian. We all kind of live in the same like suburban area of Cedar Park. So got to actually hang out with him on Friday. Well, that's awesome. What a great committee lead choice. Brian, what's next?
Well, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the next Talent Brand Summit. And I know that you've got some options as part of the board. You know, you want to figure out, hey, which summit do I want to go to? Oops, did I let it leak that there's going to be more than one summit?
You did. Now you got to talk about it.
Ah, dang it.
We just got back from a little place called London.
Jolly London?
Jolly London town.
So
it was a terrible accent.
That was bad.
It was bad. I'm not even going to try to do it because I know mine's going to be worse. Yeah. So we got back from London and we were location scouting, right? So we were looking for places that offered something unique, very similar to what Lost Pines offered us at the first Talent Brand Summit.
That was a really amazing location.
Now,
I like the lazy river.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. We can get into another future podcast so we can dive into that because it's next October. But let's talk about what's coming up in March. Talent Brand Summit 2.0. The second one is going to be next March. It's going to be March 26th through 28th. And we are going back to Lost Pines. It's just such a great venue. We have a slew of new facilitators and one
returning. I saw that.
Returning with Charlotte Marshall. She was so fantastic. At the last one this year, we had to have her back for next year.
Absolutely. And she's going to be tackling candidate experience in her roundtable. So
such an important topic.
It is, and it impacts employer brands so much. Yeah. So it's coming up. It's in August again.
Yep.
At the same venue, which was amazing. And Audra, what was your favorite thing about the venue?
Oh, definitely the lazy river. No question. I've never gone to a conference where you can go a little early and float around. And I was floating around with other people that were there. I met some people in the lazy river. It was, you can't beat that.
I'm pretty sure that's going to continue to be our main home base in the US for this inaugural event. Mainly just because we can't find another venue that offers us the ability to create such a unique experience for attendees. We've developed some good relationships. They have amazing food. I mean, every breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a full spread.
You want to know what my favorite part of the meals at Talent Brand Summit was?
What?
It was the barbecue.
Oh God. Oh, that's right. Because they had that brisket that was just slow cooked all there for like days, right?
Yep, and like the
Oh,
homemade skillet biscuits.
the mac and cheese.
And you have to have the competition again, because I think people really, it brought out their competitive side.
Oh,
Things
we
people
are.
didn't expect.
Yeah. So the events I think that will be consistent at that event are one is definitely the Iron Chef competition. That's one we thought it'd be fun, but we didn't know it would just become such a, you know, one of the most memorable things. So you really got to stay through that, that second night and leave Friday morning, because if you miss out on the last evening, this year we're actually doing a formal dinner after Iron Chef competition as well. We're having another dinner and activity. So if you're coming to Talent Brand Summit, make sure that you book. You come in that Tuesday and evening for the reception, full day Tuesday of sessions, activities, dinner, after party is happening this year. That's new to the agenda. Then Wednesday, full day of working sessions, fun activities, and then dinner, and then everyone catches a plane Friday morning. So it's almost a full week, but it is worth it because you do not want to miss anything on the agenda.
Yeah, I purposely.
If you couldn't tell, everybody is on for all 2.5 days.
Yeah.
It's so engaging. I mean that you just have to be engaged because you're talking and you're learning from your colleagues, your peers. And it was exhausting, and not just because we were organizing it. It was exhausting because there was so much good information. My mind was
and I was also sick as a dog. I don't know how
But also the notes are very valuable too for after, because you're also just at one table, so you're kind of not hearing necessarily all the other tables, although we did share. Those notes are invaluable that you get after.
I know, because we can always go back and search them. And Brian did such a great job of organizing the master scribe notes document too, where it's organized by table, by who was talking.
Yeah, you don't get that anywhere else.
It's really cool, and that's just for attendees, of that went to the summit. So it's another just big benefit. You don't typically go to a conference and have every session written out in anecdotal notes that you can reference later. Yeah,
you get the slides, but
professional note takers.
Yeah, you get slides.
But the slides are just the speakers. Now you get notes from 70 people.
Oh yeah, and then the slides too. I mean, most of the time when you go to a conference where someone is just presenting and talking, they don't put a lot of information in those slides. They're visual cues, right?
Oh yeah.
The visual to what they're saying, and so everyone has to take their individual notes. Where here, because we want it to be interactive, we don't want any attendees spending time taking copious amounts of notes. Right? We're gonna have professional transcribers at the events. Going forward that take care of it for you, so you can just focus on like engaging and building and sharing your knowledge. And
the best part about that though is those transcribers like Travis are in the field, so they get it, so they can actually participate too. It's not just some people taking notes.
Well, they were at the last one, but going forward, no, that will not be the case.
Sorry.
And the reason is no, it's a good thing. I'm glad we brought this up because that's something that was some feedback we got from the first event. I mean, the reviews from the first event were the highest I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were crazy.
I've spoken at dozens, but the feedback that we did give, we made those changes. One, we moved it to March. People are like, "Oh my gosh, that was super hot," and climate change is real. It was super hot in June.
Nice way to stick that.
Hotter than usual, but also they said, we asked our scribes. You said, "Hey, you practitioners that were here taking notes, did you feel like you were able to participate as well?" And many of them were like, "No, I was too focused on taking notes. I wasn't."
And they are people that could provide a lot of value.
They are people that have a lot of good experience, like Grace Chu. Like she was there. I mean, she's had years and years of experience for doing employer branding on some of the world's largest companies like GoDaddy, GE, SAP.
Good point.
And she wasn't sharing, and it's because she was taking notes. So
and Lauren from Indeed, I have to give a shout out. I learned a lot from Lauren. She was really great.
It's awesome.
Yeah, Lauren's amazing, and Grace too. So what's funny is I collated all those notes. I pulled them all together and got rid of some of the overlap. But Grace, props to Grace. She had the best
They were so
notes.
good. Yeah.
Because she got it,
I mean,
because she was so focused.
She was
on the
also at
story.
my table, but
Mhm.
whatever. I'm just
That
kidding.
has absolutely nothing to do with it. In fact, that was her handicap.
No, she's great. And I think it showed you that the scribes that were really focused on taking good notes and the scribes that were more trying to engage in conversation.
There should be a battle. Yeah.
Right? Like one on the plus, like we got the knowledge that some of those scribes were given, but not the notes. And on the other side, we got the notes, but not the knowledge. Right. And so what we decided to do is just actually hire some professional transcribers who can capture everything. And it doesn't really matter if they have the context. It's just really about capturing it. And that way everybody who attends can really engage.
Wow, that's awesome.
We'll probably give them a crash course at the beginning.
Yes.
You know, like what are some words that you should understand, things like that. No, but I think it is. I think that's going to be good because the people who are in it need to be able to focus and learn and stay engaged, because that's one of the greatest benefits about the summit is really getting to know everybody else and connect with them. And I love that the group itself was so much more engaged, like the Facebook group was so much more engaged
after doing this.
Because a lot of us knew each other now.
Right. There was a real tribe. And I think that's what's as somebody who I own a company that, and start a company that 90% of the people are remote, but we come together once a year and we have our little retreat together. And always after that happens, everyone's more engaged and there's more context in how we communicate. And the online community for Talent Brand Alliance is an amazing resource, just day to day, right? But taking it beyond that and then meeting some of these people that you're learning from every day in a retreat setting like this is so valuable. It's so valuable. And we hear it with every story that people share with us on this. So we hope that everyone who is a member takes, at least a chance, one of the, either whether it be this next summit or the summit after that, come into these and you will find your tribe.
And bring your boss.
And
Don't
bring your
forget
boss.
that. I did it with Ashley. And
BYOB, baby.
yeah. It's fantastic for me and Ashley's because we got to hear from other people. And then the last day we sat together, so we got to kind of work on our stuff together. So definitely bring your boss.
All right. Well, we're going to close it out. Audra, thank you so much for doing it. The last question we have for you is, can you tell everyone one thing that most people, and I know you share a lot, but one thing that people may not know about you or would find surprising?
It's tough. Like I said, it's tough because anyone that kind of is Facebook friends with me or just kind of in the industry, they know me because I share everything. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I throw it all out there, even like embarrassing things about my kids. It's all out there. But for people that don't know me,
I'm gonna put a pause in that for just a second. I loved seeing what do I say? I loved seeing the personal potty PC moment from one of your kids.
Is that this week? Yeah, I like to just have fun on Facebook and share the good and the bad because everyone can relate, I hope, to the amount of times that I talk to the principal and potty words and the things that I'm going through. Other people are too, so hopefully they find it funny.
But being able to play Minecraft from while sitting down, I'll just say it was pretty hilarious.
I bet you there's some other mothers that have seen it.
It's real. I love that. And your presence online and how much you share goes to the heart of why you're such a great board member and community member with Talent Brand Alliance, is that you and on this committee on mentorship, right? Sharing is caring, and that's how we all learn. So it's awesome. So
just be yourself.
tell us, like, what's something we don't know? What's something we don't know yet, or that most people may be turning into this or just checking out Talent Brand Alliance? They don't follow you on social yet. What's something interesting about you that's going to help them kind of remember, or at least have an icebreaker next time they see you at Talent Brand Summit?
The biggest thing I think about me is that I'm a big tomboy. And I feel like everything I kind of do and gravitate to is always kind of like what guys should do. And I love like when people think that, because I'm like, hold my beer, I'm going in. So that's kind of just true about me. It always has been, actually. I like to play hockey with guys. I'm on a band with my husband. And it's funny, the shows, they're all guys. I don't know, where are these girls? I know so many, they're amazing girl musicians, but they're never at our shows, but hopefully more and more will be. But I definitely am.
I think that makes you a great example, especially in this moment we're in as a society right now, that to show that
We can do it all.
being in a band isn't a guy's thing. Playing hockey isn't just a guy's thing. So I think that makes you a wonderful role model for others in the community, and just women professionals and moms in general. So we're glad. Thank you so much for taking
Awesome. Thank you guys. This is fun.
do this with us, and we'll see you really soon.
And I'm excited about just working with you this year. We've got some very exciting big things planned.
Yeah, we love that you jump into things with both your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we also love that you jumped into the board with both of your feet. So
Mm-hmm.
we're looking forward to
I was thrilled to be asked. So thank you.
bringing people together. So awesome. Well, Will, you want to close out?
That's it. Thank you guys. Next up, we're going to be talking to Mr. James Ellis. See you later. Bye.